So, so yeah, so you're tapping him, you want to tap him into the sit, and, but you could say, I guess the whole thing here is if you say sit, you know, you shouldn't have to. You know, if you're slowing down, you just go into aim without even saying sit, right? So I guess the whole idea here is to really get him to go into the sit on the slow down, you slowing down, but the tapping is going to do that, right? Like that tapping. So we're going to line it up that way. I wouldn't say sit.
Okay.
You know, I would just, what you want to focus on is the tapping, right? Just to tap him into that. And then if you have to, then, you know, with your hands, put him into it. But we should be getting to a level here now with him that should be a expectation. That's automatic. If he's on a leash and I'm slowing down, I come to a stop, you want him just to go into that sit. Because what's his other option?
Right.
To stand? No, I don't want to stand or just looking at, you know, I want you to into the sit, right? I want him to default into that. And then the issue of the down part of it is that's where, yes, you are going to say down, right? Because if he's into a sit, then the options can change anyway from the sit to move forward. I mean, I want the down, right? So, so saying the word down is going to happen.
Right.
The sit doesn't have to, right? So because if I'm coming into a slow down situation with him, a sit, that's just an automatic expectation. You shouldn't have to say sit. There's maybe scenarios where I could say that from, you know, on a testing situation from a down to a sit, from a distance thing. That's where a sit, I could verbalize it then, that's reasonable. That's something where that he's got to know what that is. But if I'm right beside, if you're right beside him and you're slowing down and do a leash method with him on or off leash, I come to and I'm slowing down, he should just go into that sit. But how do you make that happen is what you're going to work on here in a moment is the tapping. The tapping into that. And without saying sit. And just, you know, tap him. And if he doesn't do it, just put him in. You know, just move him into it, Lester. And then from there, once he's into it, then you can say down. But then that's where you can hang for a second to see if it's going to happen or not, right? But you'll know that, but it doesn't just put them into the ground.
Okay.
Right? And then going from there, then transitioning into the off leash, you know, at some point. So, but let's focus on the tapping for a bit, and then we won't even go off leash yet anyway. So let's just focus right now on the default sit part of it, with seeing how that's happening or going to happen, and see what your technique is for that to make it happen. And we're not going to worry about off leash yet. We're going to do it here in a little bit, but that's just right now. Let's just work on seeing how he's doing for getting him the default into a sit, okay, from the circle method. So whenever you're ready, take your time. Like I said, this is just about getting that, see if that's going to happen on its own a little bit. Good. So what you want to do here now, I'm going to work on this, is just try to be a little more intentional with not stopping so suddenly for him, because we want to work this in so that there's a fairness to it, right? There's like a focal, it's like fading in type exercise. So for example, if you stop like this very suddenly, then, you know, but here what we want to kind of do is not happen after a bit. But here, because it's kind of like just we're lining this up a little bit for him, what we want to do is we want to kind of slow down, give him more opportunity to tap a little bit more to increase it.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's like you're slowing down. It's like trying to picture like a car is going into a turn, but we're just kind of slowly applying the brakes.
Okay.
Right? So like I want to give him information to have opportunity to line it up. So next time as you stop, just kind of stop a little bit more progressively as you're tapping lightly, and then the more you're slowing down, the more harder you'll have to tap to make it happen if you need to, right? So just kind of line up so it's like speaking language to him. So whenever you're ready, just kind of make it more, take a little longer, right? But just kind of, so you can walk a little faster maybe, and then slowing down a little bit more. But kind of make it so that you're lining it up so that he knows what's coming ahead of time a little bit more. But tap and tap right now, a little bit, slow down more, and then And then see that, so good. So, it's like, so yeah, as you're stopping, you know, something a little different, Lester, but as you're slowing down, tap lightly, just tap lightly. So it's like a little coordination, but you have to kind of, as you're slowing, as you think to slow down, as you're about to slow down, you should just tap just a little bit, to say, hey, you know, something is about to happen. So try to make it so that there's a change in the tapping as you're slowing down. There has to be, because it has to peak, right? So it's more I'm stopping. So it's like, just lightly tap first, let them know, and then as I go, it's a little bit harder, right? And then, because he needs to get the idea,
Okay.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, now when I'm doing that, I should also switch hands, just
Yes.
in case.
That's right.
It's like, same thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's good. Yeah, there's a little bit of different things happening here, so, you know, it's a little bit more kind of, it's kind of like playing the
Well, I know
drums.
the rocks or something, like, do I still do that or what? So,
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, it's like, you imagine playing the drums where your feet are going at the same time. So there's some multitasking here, but the whole idea is for him to get a better understanding of what's going on,
Okay.
right? Because it's all about him, because just think it's language. Because if we're tapping too hard, it's like, what's going on here? It's like, okay, he can still get that. But we kind of want to make it, just, again, picture like applying the brakes just like progressively to, instead of just like, you know, we're just like, hey, we're going in, because it's like having control of a vehicle. You know, if you're going in, you hear the tires squealing a little bit, it's like you're still in control. I'm going around the curve, but I have full control. But here the idea is that I'm slowing down and I'm giving him information, but it escalates a little bit. But not because he's doing anything wrong, it's like I'm giving him information, I'm slowing down more, and it's like stop, then back to the default. That's why we create the default in.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, it's like progressive information, and then, you know, it ties in. So,
Okay.
but you're right, you put the leash in the other hand. So you can do it two ways. You can, you know, as you're thinking of, you're right, as you're thinking about, you know, coming to a stop, you can wait until the leash goes into the other hand. He'll cue up on that anyway, maybe, right? But then you can start to, you know, tie it in. But the whole idea is to tie it in so that, you know, it kind of plays out that way. So it's a little bit more, you know, goes from light to a little heavier, and then as you come to a stop, and then, you know, I don't need that, because by then he should be tied anyway. Okay, this totally makes sense to me, and just he defaults in,
Gotcha. Okay.
right? So, yeah, just play with it, but as long as you get kind of a general idea here what we're doing. There you go. See that? Good. Yeah. So the whole idea is, yeah, tap moving now. So yeah, good. Good. So that's perfect. Yeah. Just so keep playing with that. The whole idea is just relax, take your time with it. Good. See that? Yeah, good. So, yeah, that's right. So just about line. So you picture this is how I do service dog training, right? So if I'm doing service dog training, the idea is, okay, how do you train a service dog to pay the maximum amount of attention to the owner, right? And so if the owner's automatically starts to slow down, stop, what do we want the service dog to do? Just go into a sit automatically. But how do we create that real good fading? So this will intensify the level that he's paying attention to you fading in to this method. Right, because the whole idea is for him to, because we want him to start to think, is like, oh, okay, I need to pay even more attention to Lester, because he's really speaking a different, more intensive language to me, not hard language, but he's directing me to say, hey, I need to pay more attention, because the expectation is higher now, right? Because he can stop at any moment, and slow down, and I need to go, and he wants me to go into a sit. But how do we make that happen so that we're really fading in high? Well, this technique does that.
Yeah, I was doing that actually the week before, early last week actually, and saying sit, but now he's not needing to sit right now.
Yeah.
So I haven't been doing that to help somebody.
So just think, yeah, so think of it as, okay, you know, moving ahead of, well, it should be like, this is like telling the dog to stay, right? Should we always have to say that word? Or should, you know, should the expectation should be, if I come to a sit and I move out a certain way, well, he should just be so focused that he's waiting for something. you know, it should be like by default, right? It should be like an automatic expectation that at times, that depending on how I'm moving my body or whatever, it should cue up on the fact I want them to stay. But here, the expectation's even more kind of, you know, makes more sense that if you're slowing down, right, and I'm coming to a halt, well, he should stop on his own and just go into a sit. Right? That's the whole point here, right? How do we make that happen? It's this technique. So yeah, so we don't say sit, because it doesn't make sense. I shouldn't even have to say sit for something like this. If I'm walking along with a dog, and he should be so focused on me that if I slow down, he should just sit anyway. I shouldn't have to say that word, right? If I have to say that word, maybe that means I don't really have the control that I have.
Right, yeah.
Right? Think of it that way. So it's like anyone that has to say sit to their dog, sit. Well, maybe that means that they're out in front too far or not paying full attention to me. They should just sit. They should be so tied and so focused on me that they should be like, if I'm slowing down, they should just go into a sit because they should be really in tune to what I'm doing. But this creates that. That's the whole point, right? So it's a language of the method. So keep playing with that. So we're not gonna, don't even worry about doing a down right now. Let's just do this for a few more minutes. Good, see that? So, and this helps too with, what do you think it helps with? Like this, by doing this technique, what do you think it helps you to pay more attention to? His state of mind with how much he's coming up running. Right? 'Cause
Yeah.
if you're thinking, think about that. So if you're thinking, we're adding this on, it makes you, gives you more awareness or more of a consciousness as to, okay, you know, it lines us up better, right? To that line, kind of line in the sand, why it's so important to keep him back, right? So because now you're thinking, okay, because if you're at the moment you're doing it, even before that, you're kind of prepping this, right? So it's like, because you don't definitely, it's like, okay, this is no good. I mean, how is this going to work if he's starting to get out here? So you're like going to be, this gives you a better awareness of getting this right, right? Because this is what it's all about, is where is that line? This helps to emphasize more of his physical, well, not just physical, but his mental state of mind, how this kind of comes together with that, right? With this technique. Because this moves you up higher, right? Because this becomes a go-to. Because this should be worked into the whole formula with any dog, that the expectation is, you know, because it's all about, you know, control. How much control do you have in the relationship? Well, this ties that in together, right? So this becomes just your norm at some point. The dog just automatically goes into a sit through this method. So this method starts to really kind of play more of a major role in what you're doing. So, yeah, whenever you're ready here, Les. You're doing good. Yep, and if you have to push, that's right. So good. So hearing him hear another dog barking, that's great, because that, you know, Polly's in there, you know.
Yeah.
It's all, yeah, that's right, good. Doing good, Leslie. Yeah. Good. So that's good. So the whole thing is tying down with you're prepared to put him into a sit, but you didn't have to, right? But being right, hovering there, getting ready to do that.
Yeah, what I'm doing is just swinging his butt closer to because he
That's
likes
right.
to swing out that way.
Yeah, and that's right. And that's a good thing to do. It's like, if that happens, you're prepared to get that lined up too. Good. Yep, we'll do a couple more times around, then we are going to add the down onto it. So, but for now, just a few more, 2 or 3 more of these. Good, see that? Good. So yeah, this gives you a much better awareness of why the integrity is so important.
Yeah.
Right, like his state of mind, and he's not investing and don't want yet. Because if he's not at a certain level, then that's not going to line up anyway. So you have to be more kind of on it a little bit. There we go. Yeah. See that? Good. And if you, like I have another perspective here, so I'm looking at him, you're doing this technique, his eyes are really shifting more to what you're doing.
Right.
This creates that, so good. Yeah, a couple more times. Good, yeah, that's right, good. Yeah, do it one more time, and then we'll add the downs on to a little bit. Good, Lester, so good, so that's excellent. So the whole idea here is it gives you a better idea of how, why the integrity is so important, but then every little movement, how it lines things up.
Yeah, all I gotta do is really just work on him getting closer to me, like,
Yeah.
to the more, 'cause I mean, other than that, I mean, I think he's doing decently, wild.
Well, it looks really good. I mean, he is good, he is coming in close to you. I mean, that looks, really good, because I can always tell from the eye shifting. I can always sense that. So when I'm looking at it, because you can imagine, like, so here's the idea, is like, you could never do that technique with a dog. The fact that you can do that, and he's responding the way he is, shows you that you're at a good level with him to begin with. Even though, of course, the issues with other dogs, that's still something that you gotta work on, right? But, it shows that it's there. This whole thing with this technique is meant to kind of bring it together so that you have a better, more of a defined line in the sand, so you know why, you know how these things kind of work together to kind of create what you want. Especially getting that default sit-in with him. So, because again, it's about, I say, about you become the system, set points, and so this is something else that becomes kind of entrenched. Because for me, I hit the sequence at some point, even if I'm doing, say, a board and train, people may not want the dog to be a service dog, but it's helpful for me to incorporate this in because it's just gonna move it to a higher level anyway.
Right, yeah.
Right, so if I'm on the street, right, I'm just gonna work on this, I'm gonna add this in at some point, because it's like, hey, this is just gonna, be very helpful, right, to really gain even more control in the relationship, right, higher expectations. So this is something we wanna kind of default in with him and definitely start to do. So now what we're gonna do is gonna add the down on with it, tie it in after he hits the sit, and then we'll do but here's the thing is by adding this in, this way, how you're doing it, what you're gonna find out is it automatically is gonna create more response to the down.